we have any citizens or public comments?
Well, nobody's here, so.
Well, you were welcome to say whatever you'd wish.
We have a procedure, Ralph.
Attorney's comments at the end, so.
Welcome, everybody. Okay, consideration of approval of the agenda.
Your Honor, I'd request that we remove item 9F, just so we can have a little discussion on that at a workshop.
Yeah, we had a presentation given to the Broadband Commission, and I know we have a couple council members that sit on that, but we really haven't sat down as a council, as a group, and really talked through that, so probably would be beneficial to do so, just so we're all on the same page, so. That's
Is there a second to the deletion of... Second. Okay. Clerk, call a roll.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Valero.
Okay, have sub-paragraph F was removed. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved. Second.
Clerk will call roll.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Valero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
The agenda as amended is approved. Consideration of approval of the minutes of the November 12 and November 17 meetings.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Valero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Okay, the minutes of the November 12 and November 17 meetings are approved. Consideration of approval of the consent calendar. Are there any questions regarding the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second. Clerk will call the roll.
Hammond.
Aye.
Valero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
The consent calendar is approved as submitted. Business of the mayor. Jill Strike submitted her resignation. The schedule didn't mesh up. She ran into problems with her schedule for the housing board. And Jenna Hagland, and her name has been proposed. She works with DHS, and she basically indicated she's quite familiar with a lot of the residents in the housing, particularly the North and South Cedar areas. And so, and I visited with her, and she seemed quite interested in going on the housing board, so I would submit her name.
Move to approve. Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Valero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
The Jenna Haugland is approved for the housing board position. Just as letting everybody know, we continue to work our way forward on a variety of different things involving the Cedar River watershed, both the upper Cedar watershed, it's under the auspices of Mark Kuhn. That group is moving or working forward in the planning process, and eventually, probably in the first quarter of next year, we'll have a proposal regarding that sector, if you will, of the Cedar River watershed. And Charles City is working with the Nature Conservancy. We had a couple of presentations with the Cedar River Coalition, and which went smoothly, and the Nature Conservancy will be coming up with more specifics on the exact location of places that are best utilized for conserving water and perhaps purifying or maintaining water quality within the county. So that's just by way of letting you know that we're continuing to meet, and there'll be more meetings during December and then into the first of the new year to sort of firm up those particular proposals. And with that, we'll move to consideration of Resolution 118-14, approving 28E agreement for broadband. Discussion.
Well, this agreement is what the city has between the Community Revitalization, the Chamber, and the school to help provide public access channel and broadband services associated with that. Our last 20E agreement expired in 2010, so we sat down with our broadband commission and we basically fully reviewed this and updated. We decreased some amounts as far as what we pay to the Chamber and Revitalization, mainly due to the fact that the franchise fee negotiating requirements are no longer needed by the local entity. That's done on a state level. So we made some adjustments there. We did work with the school as far as helping maintain that public access position, and that's where that $35,975 is going to the school to provide access to the studio and provide a person to be there to help oversee that public access channel, help provide people to be here to tape meetings, school meetings, council meetings, and whatnot. So this 28E is essentially a review and update of that agreement.
Questions and discussion.
I would so move.
Second.
Any further discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Star.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Resolution 118-14 is approved. Consideration of the Resolution 119-14 accepting 2014 PCC patching project and the authorization of a final payment. Discussion.
Yes, Allied Construction, Allied Manats Group, they were the general contractor for the 2014 PCC patching project. This had the three areas that we had to do repairs on. The one in the alley behind 223 North Main, that's the Brandon Detmer's building. At the end of Chapel Lane, they're right by the parking area for the river front. And out in Morningside Apartments off Clark Street in the northeasterly corner of the parking lot. The project improvements were completed at a cost of $37,500.70. The original bid price was just under $42,500. This work will be funded through the Street-Related Capital Improvements Fund as well as the Housing Department's Maintenance Fund. So we recommend approval of Resolution 119-14, accepting the project and authorizing final payment.
Discussion or questions?
We're satisfied with the work that's been done.
Yes.
So move.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Star.
Aye.
Resolution 119-14 is approved. Consideration of Resolution 120-14 accepting 2014 HMA paving project and authorizing final payment. Discussion.
Yes, the 2014 HMA paving project, that's been completed by Heartland Asphalt out of Mason City. This project included the 8-foot wide recreational trail through Victory Park, as well as some shouldering work up by Steve Robles' place between the old former Get and Go building to the existing intake. It was about 300 feet of shouldering to control the drainage. They're coming off those parking lots. Also, since we had an asphalt paving contractor in town, we wanted to take advantage of that, and we added some extra work. And that was the patching on Illinois Street between Clark and Kelly. Shaw Avenue, we overlaid Shaw Avenue in front of the wastewater treatment plant as well as the wastewater treatment plant's driveway into the plant. community revitalization, they also are paying for some overlay work and patching on the Charlotte Western Trail, as well as Park and Rec. They had budgeted some a pickleball court, so we paid the pickleball court as part of this project. Heartland Asphalt, they've provided the city with a 4-year maintenance bond to take care of any defects caused by faulty materials or workmanship. We are satisfied with the work, so we would recommend approval of resolution number 120-14, accepting the project and authorizing final payment.
And John, right after I got on the council, we had a citizen here who lived at the bottom of the hill where that project was completed, and he was concerned about that water. Have you actually watched during a rain or a thaw or something to see that most of the water's going into that sewer, into the system?
Yes, I've been out there during heavy rains, and the water that had been flowing from like Steve Robles and those paved parking lots had been flowing across the road. It now has been diverted, and it goes down, and that throat intake takes that water and gets it into the storm sewer system rather than leaving it on the surface.
I assume we received a thank you note from those citizens who complained.
He's noticed it.
And as I discussed at the planning session, you know, before the project, it was not uncommon to see a nice stream cutting across the road. But I happened to be there shortly after the project had been completed, and there, other than just what was dropping down from the rain, there was not hardly anything crossing the road. So it was dramatic improvement, just that little project area. So, and also we discussed that I would just be concerned about watching that little drain, just to make sure, because there's a lot of gravel, dirt, grass kind of around there. Just make sure that it doesn't maybe get damaged or anything that or interrupts the flow.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it.
I've looked at it too, and you know, you buy a house at the bottom of the hill, the water's going to run downhill. That's kind of common sense, but I think it will help with that water not running across Highway 218, because when you have the winter time, it gets pretty icy there previously, so it looks like it's a good improvement.
Since everybody else has inspected that one real good, I'll talk about the trail and stuff. It's really nice. And Illinois Street was really bad, and I'm sure those people appreciate having that stuff fixed up. And, you know, we've got a nice trail around town here, and it's nice to see a little bit of money going into that to keep that up as well. So I'd move for approval.
Second. Clerk will call the roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Resolution 120-14 is approved. Consideration of Resolution 121-14 accepting 2014 street paving project and authorizing final payment.
Again, Allied Finance Group, Allied Construction, they were the general contractor for the street paving project. This project had the four streets, reconstruction of 13th Street, from between the medical center and the clinic building, Beck Street between 8th and 9th Streets, and that also includes sanitary sewer and water, D Street between 4th and 5th Avenue, just off Highway 18, as well as Development Drive Prospect Lane from 13th Avenue to the cul-de-sac. The project was completed at a total cost of $828,466.24. Most of that cost overrun was due to poor soils that were encountered on 13th Street as well as Development Drive. And this project will be paid for out of street-related capital improvements. Allied has provided the city with a maintenance bond, a 4-year maintenance bond to cover any faulty material or workmanship. And we'd recommend approval of Resolution 121-14, accepting the project and authorizing final payment to Allied Manats.
So move.
Second.
Is there any explanation of poor soil, did you say?
Or, yeah, it was very, high clay content, and we had to take that out to get a good, stable base.
Is that something that should have been caught when the first street went in?
Well, when these original payments were put in, it was more common to place concrete just on
Whatever was
on
there.
grade, just on compacted dirt rather than putting in a rock base.
Now, Beck Street frequently gets heavier vehicles on that street. Are we confident that that will hold up to the heavy commercial vehicles that frequent that street?
Yes, and our standard street pavement thickness is 7 inches
Okay,
of Portland.
because it is much better up there now than it was.
Can you give us some idea of the life expectancy increase when you take that clay out of there and put rock in there compared to when you don't do that?
Just, I know that there's some streets around that are on good base. They can be 50 years old and have very minimal, maybe just one or no cracks. If you have a good base, the concrete will last. What it is, it's if you don't have a good base, you get movement, and that concrete is just kind of like an armor coat, and there's nothing to support it, so it cracks. And then that cracking just adds to the problem because water gets down below the surface, just compounds that problem. If you have a good base, a concrete street will last well more than 50 years.
Okay, the clerk will call the roll.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Resolution 121-14 is approved. Consideration of third and final reading of ordinance 1079, amending the floodplain map. Discussion.
Yes, this will be the third and final reading of ordinance 1079. This is ordinance to our floodplain management district, which is a part of the city's zoning ordinance. And if you remember, this was required as part of the FEMA remapping and of the Cedar River Valley through Charles City. Now, there have been no changes following the first and second readings. And once we have a signed ordinance and it's fully adopted and published, we have to send a copy to the DNR to meet their requirements. So we recommend approval of the third reading, adopting and publishing ordinance 1079.
There been any public comments or anything like that, John?
No, we did have that one meeting, but I've just had 3 phone calls just asking about have there been any changes to my property.
Now, if I remember right, which I don't always, but we'll go with this time, I might be, if there was a resident that had a disagreement or wanted to appeal, they had to hire an engineer to dispute and then go through that process. I'm assuming we haven't had any of those situations come in?
No.
Okay.
I'd so move.
Second?
Clerk will call the roll.
Malero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Okay, the third reading is approved. We'll have the third reading.
Ordinance number 1079, and ordinance amending Section 20 of the zoning ordinance of the City of Charles City, Iowa by adopting a new floodplain map, by adopting new restrictions for use of fully enclosed areas below the lowest floor of new and substantially improved structures, by the addition of a new requirement regarding flood data for subdivisions of greater than 5 acres or 50 lots, by the adoption of new provisions concerning the exemption of recreational vehicles from anchoring and elevation requirements, by the adoption of new requirements for the protection of pipelines underlying rivers or streams, by the addition of new definitions, and by the adoption of regulations for those areas within the floodplain district and the floodplain fringe district for which there is no detailed flood hazard data.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt and publish?
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Okay, the ordinance has been adopted and will be published. And F has been omitted, so we move to unfinished business. Hearing none. New business. Hearing none. Miscellaneous correspondence.
None, Your Honor.
City Attorney's report.
Nothing?
Oh. City Clerk's report.
The next meeting will be a planning session on December 10th at 7 o'clock. And are you going to talk about the budget schedule during your spiel? Okay.
Sure.
Nothing further? City Administrator's report.
Just to update on the traffic light that you may have noticed is out there on Main Street and Grand. Which one?
Gilbert.
Gilbert, yeah. There is a wire that's broken in there, and it's probably going to take us probably close to a week to get that fixed. I think it broke down a few months ago, and we were able to patch it up, and now the patch backup is now broken, so we have to do some digging over there, so it's going to take a few days to get that fixed. So I just wanted to let everybody be aware of that.
Excuse me, but I had a couple citizen comments today that intersection works a lot better the way it is.
You know, I went through that about 3 times today myself, and I kind of thought the same thing.
No.
It was
No.
Everybody took their turn. The directional arrows, you guys notice the directional arrows on all the lights now? That's very helpful.
I have noticed that, yes. I knew something was different. I wasn't sure if it was the paint or what, but something was different.
Mike doesn't get lost nearly as often.
GPS.
Still get told to, but I just don't.
At least now I know where you're going. So that's that. Budget timeline, everybody has a new and improved updated budget timeline before you. Was chatting with Trudy earlier today, and some of the dates that we'd penciled in for workshops during January. I know several of them fell on council meeting nights and workshop nights, and so in order to try and, I still have, on the schedule here, there's still 3 nights where it's either one of them is a workshop and 2 of them are council meetings. But the nights that I have budget stuff planned for that, they're very light. So I'm hoping that it'll keep our meetings short. As far as what the start time will be, I know Trudy mentioned that here a week or 2 ago, and we can determine that as we get there, whatever works out best for the group. For meeting times, but as far as dates go, those are kind of the dates we've now penciled in. And so unless anybody has any major issues with those dates, we'll try and stick with those if we can. But I'm sure this will not be the last version, and things will change as we go through. So that's probably one thing I can probably guarantee.
Always.
The other thing I wanted to point out too is on December 10th, which is next Wednesday, our workshop night. I do have penciled in to have our goal setting session. I've typically worked where we have, before we start the budget process, we kind of have just like a small goal-setting session, whether it's just review of existing goals or what have you. And I know we just did a goal-setting here probably about a little bit over a year ago, I believe. So if nothing else, we'll just run through that, make sure everything is where we want it to be. And so we have some direction going into the budget process as far as what those goals and whatnot should be. So that's that. I was just chatting with the mayor a little bit and John actually about our comprehensive plan, and it sounds like NICOG's going to be coming here in the next few weeks. I would almost assume maybe maybe 2 weeks from tonight, to kind of lay out the work they've done so far in our comprehensive plan. I know they've asked us for some additional input, but they've got the demographics, all, the traffic information, that type of stuff gathered, so then we'll be getting into the meat and potatoes of the comprehensive plan. So we need to work on figuring and developing who our comprehensive planning team is going to be, and usually you've got some elected and city officials, and then some folks from the community, key players. So we'll be assembling that team as well. And then the last thing I guess I just want to mention is John and I met with Allied, Allied Construction today on Allied 7, and we discussed the work that they've gotten done so far, and they're wondering if they could, they haven't gotten all the work done, obviously, out there in Allied 7, but if they could be, if we would consider doing a partial payment for the work they have done to date, and I told them that we'd consider that and review that. So they're going to send us a request, and John and I are going to review it, and we'll be presenting that for the council to consider for a partial payment on Allied 7. So other than that, that's all I have.
Would it be possible to just get kind of an update on all the different projects, like the Allied project and the McQuillan project and the project down there, the old, the Net Zero project? Kind of where all those things are at and what the timelines are and things like that, because
Sure.
kind of good to get that, I think, in front of the council again a little bit.
I know the Net Zero, they're basically, they misordered some brick.
Yeah.
They got the wrong brick in, so it appears that that the new order didn't come in time to get that finished. But, yeah, we'll work on that.
Because, 9th Street is getting to be kind of a mess down there. If I were some of those people living down there, I'd be a little frustrated that that street's sitting there, so I guess I think it'd be good for us to kind of get an update on that project and all the projects. Everybody wants to kind of keep us on our toes when it's time to get these things started, and then they kind of start dragging on, so I think we need to pay some more attention to some of those things,
Sounds
if
good.
you would, please.
Yeah, will do. And that's all I have here.
Board, commission, or committee reports? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move, Your Honor.
Second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We're adjourned.